Welcome to the Money Savvy Parents Podcast, the podcast for parents to gain financial education to then pass on through the generations. I am your host, Laura, mother to 3 beautiful children and founder of a financial coaching business, Savvy Peacocks. Let's remove the taboo from money together. Hello, welcome back to my podcast. This is episode 29 with a subject that I think is pretty much close to every single parent's hearts. So let's delve straight in and listen to that question.
Hiya, I was wondering if you could tell me or give me some advice. Our food shopping seems to be out of control at the moment. Please, could you share your opinion on the best approach?
So I started off by saying there, I think all parents can probably relate to this subject. And that is because we all have to feed ourselves, but particularly when we've got children, it can be quite expensive and probably never ending, particularly if you're like my children where they're just constantly asking for food. But I want to start off by saying is really the only way to get your food shopping under control and being in control of it rather than the other way round is to have a plan. I always say don't wing it, have a plan. And if you've got a goal in mind, then without a plan, it's really just a wish. You've probably heard me say that on social media before. So as with everything I talk about, having a plan is step 1. So the second step is really to look at the reality of the situation. So look back over the last 2 or 3 months of your bank statements, your credit card statements, anywhere that you might be spending money. And maybe that's a few different bank accounts and a few different credit cards. Add it all up, every single place you do your food shopping. Now, you can segment that. In fact, I would suggest you do that to begin with. So segment it between shops and then places where you're eating out and then takeaways. So I would segment it in those 3 ways. And then some people do like to have a budget for each of those individually. But if you're comfortable, then you could have just one figure. I run mine all on one figure, to be honest. So if we get towards the end of the month and I think, right, I've got one more food shop to do. Yes, we want to go out this weekend. Can we afford to? It's going to cost £70. I've got a food shop coming, which is going to be £80. Is there enough money in the pot? So I think it is quite useful having it all together in one figure because it means that you're aware of your choices so much more between eating out and buying food in. Same with takeaways as well. So if you want to segment it, then that's fine. But if you want to keep it all in one pot, then that works quite nicely for me. And then when you've worked out this figure, you will not be alone. It can be a real eye-opener. So maybe you're thinking, oh yeah, I spend around £500 a month on food, when actually when you look into it, it turns out more like to be £800. You definitely wouldn't feel alone in that. And so it can feel quite restrictive to then move back down to that 500 that you were initially thinking of. So I would, before you start going into your bank statements, be honest with yourselves. How much do you think it is, or how much would you be comfortable with based on your family? And then have a look at what it actually is. And if there's a big difference like that between 500 and 800, then doing a phased down to the 500. So, this month is 800. I've just seen it's been 800. So next month I'm going to get it down to 700. The month after that will be 600. And then by then, hopefully we'll be comfortable going down to the 500. And just to give you an idea, the average household adult cost for food per month is £140 a month. And then the average child, when I say child, I mean under 12s, is around £80 a month. If they're above 12, I would be putting them in the adult category from a food perspective. So something that often gets forgotten in this bit actually is making sure that you include things like your toiletries and your cleaning equipment in the house, because going into separate places to buy those things can cause an overspend. So I would come up with a figure that includes all your toiletries, all of your things that you need around the household, and then stick to that figure on a month by month basis. So if you need to phase it up or down, then that's fine. But when you're coming to the end of the month thinking, okay, it's the 28th of the month, we've got 3 days left, we've ran out of all our food money, what are we going to eat? What does that look like? What have we got in the cupboards and the freezer? So that you've got full control of your spending, because all too often, maybe in the past where you've got up to over £800, let's say, it will be because you didn't have any idea what you were spending on food. You just thought, okay, well, I'm just going to go to the shop and get something for dinner tonight because we haven't got a big food shopping coming for a few days. So having that awareness and that control just means that you can be a little bit more controlled with your food spending, which, let's face it, means that you will have money to spend on other things. Okay, so this is what this is about. It's not about restricting yourself, it's about choosing where your money goes. So putting your food spending all in a different place, completely segmented from your normal spending, is a really great habit to get into. So using a credit card or a bank account that rewards you for regularly spending. There are lots out there. I don't want to be affiliated to any of them, so go and have a good look on the comparison websites and find the best one that suits you and your family and how you want to be rewarded. So I use one that gives me like vouchers back that I can use in other places. And then aside from that, I would get your children involved. So if you've got children of 9, 10, 11, 12, then that's the perfect age for them to get involved in this task. So asking them to make a meal planner, to be ordering the food online for you, give them a budget. Say, okay, this week we can spend up to £100 on our food shopping. We need to have this many days meals planned out. Maybe on a Friday we're going to have a takeaway, so we need to account for £50 on a takeaway, and asking them to complete that task for you. So if this is making any parents nervous out there, I just want to do a little reminder that, of course, you're going to do a check over that to make sure you don't end up just eating chocolate all week. And you can change it right up to the night before the food shopping comes. So give them the opportunity, give them the autonomy, allow them to get on with the exercise, and then review it with them and teach them and educate them around how they could do it differently next time, what that might mean. Because this doesn't only teach them a life skill that they're going to need in the future, it gives them responsibility for your family, but also it really gives them an awareness of what things cost. And my kids, honestly, if I gave them the opportunity, they would eat 5 packets of crisps a day. But I'm sure if they knew that those 5 packets of crisps cost £2 for a multi-pack of 6, and that's every day times 3 children, it's a bit out of control. So giving them that awareness of what things cost and making those right food choices. Okay, so aside from placing your orders online, I would also suggest from time to time going into those places where you can't order food online and just to do a price check, maybe have a different kind of experience. So going into places like Lidl, Aldi, Iceland, Morrison's don't deliver everywhere. So go into those different places, B&M's, all those Home Bargains, those kind of shops that don't do an online shopping experience. So you can go in and see if you can get your products cheaper, or go in and see whether there's a different type of product that you maybe haven't even thought of. Because sometimes when you just buy things online all the time, you just buy the same things over and over again. And I think with food shopping, it's about changing it around and doing something different in the month so that it doesn't all feel very samey and you have the same meals all the time and things like that. A little word of warning on going to those shops is do not go down the clothes aisle or the home aisle unless you specifically go in shopping for those things. So if you are going to do your weekly shop, you don't go anywhere near those aisles. And I just want to do a little shout out actually to a new Channel 4 programme that's come on called Secret Spenders. And my good friend Eamon is on there. He was on the podcast a few months ago now. He's a bit of a celebrity financial advisor. I absolutely love his work and his Instagram page and what he does. And he's a host on that programme. So go and check out Secret Spenders, because there's an episode, the first one, where the dad goes out to do the food shopping and he actually comes out with 2 trolleys worth of stuff. He goes in intending to spend like £80 and he comes out having spent £150, and he's bought his kids all new outfits. His daughter that goes with him comes out with a brand new pair of wellies. So go and watch it, because it really is quite funny. Because I think had he not have even gone anywhere near the clothes and home aisle and gone with a list, then it might have been a little bit different. So lastly, aside from your meal planning, I'd look at what else is in your cupboards before automatically popping to the local shop to get something for dinner. So on those evenings where you open your fridge and you think, oh, there's nothing for dinner, what are we going to do? All too often, people will just say, oh, it's okay, I'll just pop up to the shop and buy us something for dinner tonight. Stop yourself. Before you do that, go into your freezer and in your cupboards. There will be meals in there, trust me. So maybe it's not one of your regular meals that you have every week, but it will be a meal. It might be a bit of a mishmash, but that's okay. Kids don't mind that. So making a meal out of what you've got out of your freezer in your cupboards can be a great way to stop you from spending, because you and I both know you're going to go to the little shop down the road, you're going to go with buying something in mind for tonight. Chances are you'll probably pick up a few other bits whilst you're there. Before you know it, you've spent 20, 25 quid and you didn't even intend to. So just stop yourself from going to those little popping into the local shops and having a look at what's in your fridge, your freezer and your cupboards for meals. So in summary, have a reality check. Know about what you're spending now so you can decide what you're comfortable with working forward. Work out what you are comfortable with, what fits in with your family, what fits in with your expenditure. You know, when you look at those figures, does it horrify you to think £800 on food for the month? That's practically, that could be someone's mortgage payment. So thinking, what am I comfortable with in line with my other expenditure? What works for you and your family? And then find a way to easily segment it away from all of your other spending. So it should not be on the same credit card, on the same bank account as any of your other spending. It should be a separate place where you can spend that money specifically designed for your food expenditure. I hope that helped and you enjoyed listening into the episode, and I look forward to having you back on the podcast with me another day. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening to Money Savvy Parents. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please subscribe and post your money questions within a review for future episodes. If you want to learn more, then please join my Money Savvy Parents Facebook group or club on Clubhouse. Let's remove the taboo from money together.